Firstly, I'm not quite sure how to follow that. Well, that was extremely cool, James. Thank you very much. Secondly, I realise I've been the recipient, I think, of Stephen's technology at some point in the future. I'll be consciously vague about the company I used to work for and, in fact, the Formula One team that I used to sponsor. But for £1 million in a former life, we used to have a logo somewhere on the car or on the driver. And I remember at the end of the season, the Formula One team coming forward and saying, would you like to renew your £1 million sponsorship? And I said, well, what value did I get from it? And they said 7.37 seconds of footage. And against the audience figures for Formula One, that's worth about 1.5 million quid, apparently. Needless to say, I didn't renew the sponsorship. Right, so very quickly, I've only got 5 minutes, so apologies for referring to notes, but I want to get a couple of messages across. We also have, I've got a couple of video clips to show. This is going back, if you like, to the B2B environment and putting a bit of a degree of seriousness back into the topic, as opposed to what I think is a very exciting space in business to consumer. If you'll allow me, I'll spend just a second on Roke Manor, and then I'll talk specifically about the video processing side. So Roke Manor is an organisation focused on delivering real, tangible value to organisations through the application of leading-edge technology. Our areas of specialism include communication sensors and information systems. Our heritage as a business, stretching back over 50 years, has allowed us to build unparalleled expertise in certain niche technology areas. So this is an organisation that was born out of the days of Plessey. It had a period of time where it was owned by Siemens, and it's now owned by the Chemring Group of companies, which is predominantly a defence company. We undertake work for a wide spectrum of customer types across many domains. Our core customer base includes nation-state defence organisations and security agencies, and it is in this area and the application of technology to defence and security that is our main area of focus. But we also stretch across commercial markets, including healthcare, commercial communications and utilities. So, on to the topic of this session. Video as a source of data is becoming an ever more important information asset across all different environments. You only have to walk around London and look up to realise you are almost always on camera, as in fact we are today. Instinctively, it feels like a good thing that we are being monitored, although it also does raise the question of privacy. But the reality is the biggest issue is simply one of data volume. With so much information available, how do you make use of it? More directly, how do you focus on those elements of video that are relevant to you in a time and cost-effective fashion? And again, this builds very much on the points that Stephen was making with so much data available. Let me use a more specific example, and I do apologise for it being a defence example, but a lot of our work is in the defence area. On recent deployments where unmanned aerial vehicles were used for surveillance activities using video and other sensors, up to 30 people would be back at base trawling through the reams of information that this activity generates. That's 30 people for one UAV instance trying to go through the data that's available. And if truth be told, the public statistic available on this is that only 2% of the data available was ever analysed from operations. So that's the challenge, sorting the relevant from the irrelevant to give you real, usable, valuable information and knowledge from the mass of data available. Roke Manor has a specialist vision processing unit. In fact, it's the same unit that, from which Hawkeye was born. You're probably all familiar with Hawkeye from the recent Wimbledon tournament. So it has a specialist unit that allows you to do exactly this, from movement recognition, tracking, behavioural analysis, and even social interaction. So again, building on some of the things that Stephen talked about with regards to face recognition. Video data can be taken to the next level as an information asset, providing real value, delivering what you want to get out of the information, all from a single camera feed. In fact, our technology was featured on Horizon, a BBC programme, earlier this year. Moving on, we can use exactly the same data to produce new, real-time, three-dimensional models that can then be used for a whole variety of things. Our current focus is on training, allowing rapid porting of real environments from video footage into the simulation environment for training purposes. But this is a whole new topic that we don't have time to talk about. So I'm going to show you two very quick videos. The first is our ability to create a three-dimensional model from video footage. And you'll see this on the bottom. What you'll actually see is not the real video footage. you'll see the three-dimensional model that's been created from the video footage, where we actually take instances of the video footage and stitch them together to create the model itself. And actually what happens is, because you allow the system, and again this is due to the processing capabilities that are available today, if you allow the system to choose the best piece of video footage, then the three-dimensional model that you generate can actually be better in quality than the original video itself. So this is the first piece we're going to see is a camera. It's just a simple stereo camera going down a cave environment. So it's fairly dark. There's no additional lighting involved. It's only a very quick clip. And you'll see the creation of the three-dimensional model, and then you'll see the three-dimensional representation of that model at the end. So that's just on the bottom piece there. So there's a guy just walking around with a piece, with a stereo camera here, and what you see here is the stitching together. Oh, too quick, sorry. What you see is the stitching together from that video footage into a three-dimensional model. The clip at the end there shows the full representation of the three-dimensional model that's been created, which, of course, if you're walking around a cave environment, you're never going to know where you are. So applications are obvious in the mining industry and other industries where three-dimensional modelling is key. The second piece of footage that we're going to show is, again, predominantly from a security application. It's actually a piece of footage from a UAV. It's been unstable, it's not been stabilised, and the clever piece here is our ability to spot moving objects from a moving object. So you'll see two clips. They're both the same clip, but the first clip you'll see unprocessed, and your job is to try and spot where the moving item is in the footage, and then the second piece will identify it for you. So we'll just clip onto that. So pretty messy footage, as you can see, but as you imagine, on a UAV, it's pretty difficult to spot things. So did you get it? No. I'm pulling up to the junction. Here's the vehicle. So, you know, these are pretty difficult challenges to solve, but in the world of trying to reduce cost and time effectiveness of people who are trying to perform these types of operations, this technology is key. So, what's our challenge as a company? With such deep technical expertise and with so much value to bring, our biggest challenge is how we embed our technology into systems and architectures of others, both in the supply companies and directly to customers, to allow others to realise the value of this vision processing technique. That's all I have to say. Thank you very much.